Hello again, it's Jim Goodin with Analog Photography again. Playing with a little landscape on a cold but sunny day. There was something about the perspective of these few trees looking through the meadow of Prospect here. I'll explore that next. I've shot this meadow a bunch of times on small format and then all through this large format period. And it's kind of continually intriguing. There's a certain perspective with some of the trees. I've shot those trees up in the mound a lot. All along here, I did a period with some 35mm rolling infrared and had some real neat things happen with clouds on a cloudy day right through this thing and through this part of the meadow. And it was leading me to want to walk in here today. So again, I'm using my DIY 50mm box camera on 4x5. It's gotten some neat perspective. So my idea today was to shoot down on ground level, looking through those three trees, kind of up a little bit in the long meadow. So looking out like this, I'm trying to shoot ground perspective. I have no idea how this is going to look, but kind of like that. My exposure reading on this thing was about a second and a half. It's ISO 400 Arista EDU 4x5 shoot film. Lux gave me a reading of half second, quarter to half second, and with my differential that I've talked about in other videos, that which is 2.4. That's the calculated difference between a base between f128 and my f-stop of 201. You take that factor and multiply it by the exposure time given at 128 by your meter, and then you get roughly what you need at your f-stop or my f-stop, which is 201. Let's see, it's looking something like that's my angle. Here we go, I'll make the exposure. Thanks again for checking out this episode of Analog Photography. Again, I'm Jim Goodin. I appreciate you looking at my channel and following my journey here in Pinhole photography on 4x5. Please consider subscribing and be well, expose some film, and be creative. Hey again, I'm going to merge this, making a picture with what I did yesterday is one piece, I believe. This is looking up right now at the Grand Army Plaza arch here in Brooklyn. And I'm gonna do, this is again with my 50mm box camera, pinhole mode, of course. So I'm gonna do an exposure, looking up kind of like that, from down on the ground, from down here, in hopes of getting some of the landscape on down to the bottom. So, because I'm thinking it'll be something like that, and then it's going to pick up some of the horizon in hopes of. Exposure obviously is going to be a little contrasty from, took a reading on Lux at 128. This is 400 ISO Arista. So the sky area was like, 0.3 or about 1/8 of a second actually. So that times my exposure factor is like edging in on about a half a second. So I'm going to do about a second overall, which is going to overexpose some things, but maybe we'll get some of that detail. So again, I'm doing this without tripod, just holding down on the ground. So that was about my angle looking up. It's, it's loaded, it's down on the ground, and it's going to come up and look about like that, get a little bit of the arch, and hopefully some of the horizon there to the opening of the park. Well, we'll see how those come out. So yesterday's experience of the low end, lower down near the ground of the landscape of the meadow of the park looking up, and today kind of down on the ground perspective, with the detail of the arch at the top with maybe some horizon. The scans will follow my tag here. It is a pretty day. It's cold like it was yesterday, but no wind and some sun, so it feels pretty good to be out. Again, I'm Jim Goodin. My channel's Analog Photography again. It's about my return to doing film-based photography, analog as we call it these days, after a number of years away. I did it way back in the 80s and all small format. In this chapter, I did some small format, but I have shifted the last several months to large format, 4x5, initially working with my Calumet view camera, and the last couple of months, the DIY pinholes. Pretty inspiring to me. I'm enjoying the format and the what happens and the unpredictability. So I encourage you to do similar. If you've never gotten to film or pinhole, well, follow me what I'm doing and comment, ask me questions. Please subscribe to this channel and I'll help you along. So again, thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching this episode. Be well, be safe, be creative, expose some film, and make pictures. Bye-bye.